Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. This week we're going to do Cycops, a comic from 1988, and it was published by Comics Interview. Comics Interview was a magazine that used to interview artists and writers and stuff, and did a lot of comic book reviews and stuff like that. And this is their first foray, I think, into publishing comics. I've been battling a cold for the last few days, and so forgive me if I sound a little off. But before we get into Cyclops, I want to introduce you to some of my own comics that I make that can help support the channel if you guys would check it out. I produce a 12 page full size full color comic book on Patreon. This cover is by Neil Devlin. I have my own art as well as other artists that I highlight in the book. And in the back, I actually have a highlighting portion of the comic, which this is the cover artist, and it goes into his background and stuff like that. And each issue, I'll be doing a different artist, whether or not they contributed to the comic or not. This is from Space Bear from Chris Knox. Yeah, so you can get these at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin, and they're random access, and they're only $2 a month, and you get a 12-page comic book. Or you can go to my website, alexanderturbin.com, and check out all my stuff there, which has Mutandis, random access, and all of my other stuff. Or you can contact me at alexturbin04401 at Instagram. So, Cycops from 1988. You look at it, and it looks rare. The first thing that you notice is that it's so professional looking. The art is beautiful. I think there's no disguising that fact. It's beautiful art. It's not a full bleed cover, but I think the design is gorgeous. The whole layout of the book is very, very nice. Here's the book 3. And the artists are really great. The artist is Brian Stelfreeze and Carl Story, and I guess Carl Story is the inker, and Brian Stelfreeze is the artist, and the writer is Julie Lee Woodcock, and it says it was also helped by somebody else, another Woodcock. I think it may have been her dad or brother or something. Anyway, so Cycops, this intro, kind of like the intro for the last book we did, which was I can't remember. It's my sickness kicking in. I'm going to use that as my excuse. But they went into a backstory of the book. This is also a backstory of Cycops. It talks about their armor, their weapons, their all about them. So you're not really clueless as to what's going on in Cycops. Unfortunately, and I think I might have to make this video kind of short because I'm just feeling the sickness again. But unfortunately, this, as soon as you start reading it, you're like, that's a Claremont X-Men book. This person, Julie, I think has probably read every single Claremont thing that was ever written, and she kind of just adapted his style into her own comic book. It starts off, there's a fight, some sort of fight between the Cycops, and it goes into a lot of exposition as to what's going on and why they're fighting, and it's some sort of honor code. But I guess the Cycops will fight at the drop of a hat because they're very violent, but they've got this code of ethics and conduct, and they're fighting for this other woman. Unfortunately, people kind of look the same, very similar, that this artist does. And the woman that they're fighting for is her maybe, but she looks kind of like her. Although I think she's African American and she's not. Um, but it's very hard to tell. Um, this comic is an Image comic before Image. I don't know when Image out after '88 or before. Um, anyway, super imagey. The art style is imagey. The writing style is very. She tries to go in depth into their characteristics and their style and their dialogue and dialect and all that stuff. Very, like I said, very Claremont. Unfortunately, she introduces these characters in a way that Claremont often did, where it's in the middle of the action and you don't know who they are, so you don't really care. So I don't really care what's going on because I don't know these characters. I don't, you have to have gone through some experiences with these characters before you actually care about them. And that's kind of what she did. She just throws them out there and you don't really care about what's going on. So there's a fight. They have like a superpower, which is going into overdrive, which is like they get superhuman. They also have a regenerative machine, so if you get stabbed or whatever, the stab is like didn't even happen. Um, then the Cyclops go to this world where people are put into slavery or something, and this woman would rather kill her son than allow him to be put into slavery. But then she changes her mind. I don't know. The story is kind of convoluted, I guess, is what I'd say. I'm sorry if I'm being a little bit harsh, but this was really not a joy to read. It was not. It was kind of a hard time going through it and reading and telling what was going on. The Cyclops go to the president of the galaxy, universe, whatever, and they were supposedly appointed by the president to go to this planet where there was slavery and point it out so she could bring it to the Senate or whatever and kind of stop what was happening. So she wants to be a good guy, and the Cyclops are like, this is a dangerous thing. But then while they're meeting in this artificial garden or whatever on this space station, an assassin comes by or infiltrates the president's one of the president's people and continues to kill the president and almost kill the Cyclops. So then it goes through this whole fight scene. There's like 3 or 4 fight scenes in this book that are particularly long, and they're pretty good. Like, that's the best part of the book is the fight scenes. But then so the assassin beats all the Cyclops. It's like I said, it's very imagey. It's very big panel, kind of showing what's going on. A lot of posing, I guess, in their fights. Excuse me. So then he leaves one of the Cyclops alive, and so he goes back to whoever hired him to kill the president, and the Cyclops goes back to the other Cyclops, because I guess there's different teams of Cyclops that do whatever they're doing, and so the assassin the assassin goes into this is who hired the assassin, but this is the guard for the assassin. I guess she's a senator or something, and they're like, you shouldn't have left one of the Cyclops alive because they will tell about this, what happened and everything. And he says, not if we discredit them. So the Cyclops are going to the Senate and saying what happened, and an assassin came in, but the assassin, I guess, infiltrates the Cyclops and makes one of the other Cyclops declare that they actually did it. And that's how it ends. The Senate arresting the Cycops for assassinating the president of the galaxy. And there's some promos for other books, Cycops #2 and then Cycops #3. These covers are beautiful. I love the arts by Stelfreeze on here. I guess it's lots of airbrush and looks very Alien Legion ish, which I enjoyed. But once again, the writing is the dialogue's not too bad. I guess it's the pacing. If they had slowed down and introduced characters instead of just throwing them in there and just kind of them acting like they were Claremont characters, where they just kind of state matter-of-factly what they're going to do. And I don't know. I don't know exactly how to describe how Claremont used to write the X-Men, but it was very much like that, where it was very matter-of-factly and a little bit over the top. But this lady, Julie, doesn't really have the flair for the dramatic that Claremont has, or the characterization. Maybe in the next couple issues, she really delves into their characters and really makes you care about them. But at this point, I just kind of think they're jerks, and they're not really sympathetic at all, and I don't really care about them at all. So the art is pretty good. I mean, it's his anatomy is really good, and his facial expressions are really good. He doesn't have any backgrounds, but overall, I guess I would have to give this maybe a 5. It just was not really enjoyable due to those things. It's a pretty book. The artist is very capable, and he's probably went on to do some really cool stuff. And but at this point, it's just lots of pretty characters, no real narrative art, narrative storytelling. It's very confusing. I had to go back and reread pages and panels over and over again, and that's for me that's a big fail. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. And his blacks are not very in depth. He could have used a lot more blacks to show some depth in his artwork. But anyway, I would say I would give this a 5. I have the second one. Maybe I have the third one too. I'll check those out, and maybe I'll change my mind on some of the things. But as it is, I didn't really care for it. But as always, let me know what you guys think, and in the comment section, and if you got Cycops back in 1988 and what you thought about it. And if you enjoy this kind of content, please let me know and hit the subscribe button and the notification button and all that cool stuff. And I'll see you next week. Bye.